G'day folks, Tony again here for more Star Control 2. Here we are at the Vega star system. We're doing some poking about to try and find out if there's anything up in this direction, because this is where I believe the Slylander are, somewhere in this vicinity of space. And we're sort of pushing our way out towards the corners and the far extents of the map to try and make some headway in terms of completing parts of the core story here, progressing the plot, finding allies, etc. before we run out of time and the bad folk begin rampaging across all of everything. So we're going to collect all of these things here. These biologicals are going to be good bang for us with the lonnnnng to get more information, and also presumably to perhaps buy some fuel, because we are out in the depths of kind of nowhere. And while we have a reasonable component of fuel, it is going to run out. It is a finite resource. Also cool looking flowery things. I don't think we've seen those before. We're having a few of these little folks make an attempt at attacking us. Of course, our shields are protecting us quite nicely. Just angry bees everywhere on this planet. It is the planet of angry bees. Losing a couple of crew. This is the best kind of commentary where I just narrate what's happening on screen. I would try and offer some more in-depth insights, but honestly, at this point, there are so many different wheels that we've got spinning here for quests. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants, trying to make sure that everything gets done. In terms of that dreaded R word when it comes to games, replayability, I don't think that it's all that far a stretch to say that I believe this game is enjoyable to replay. I certainly remember playing it quite a number of times in my youth. But in terms of different ways to go about things and how much quote-unquote branching narrative or what have you there is in the story, I'm not quite sure that is what this game is angling for. It's certainly, in my experience, at least, a lot more about discovery and trying out cool things. What I do think is worth talking about here is just the process of experimentation. Is there a way that I can play this game without allying with so-and-so? Is there a way that I can complete this game without doing this quest thread or that quest thread? So exploring the possibility space of the game in terms of what you do engage with or what you don't engage with, or if you just are entertained by the prospect of perhaps this time around trying to anger this race or get them to take this different action, or not worry about whether these folk get exterminated. It reminds me a lot of my approach to playing Mass Effect 2, where I kind of dug into how the loyalty systems and various things were hooked up there, and tried to see, can I get through the entirety of this story by losing the maximum number of crew members possible? Not so much in terms of trying to get a different ending, but a different flavor of the same kind of story. And I guess speaking with the player hat and also with the developer hat on here, my preference is very much starting to be, what flavor can I as the player bring to this? How can I change some sort of specific elements or flavor or tone of what's going on here, rather than needing to specifically alter the course of history or experiment with a story thread that ends with a vastly different ending. I can totally understand the appeal of that, but it's not something that strongly appeals to me. Maybe you feel differently. That's wonderful. I would love to hear about it. So feel free to ping us a comment, or if you do want to get in touch with me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @Calenscald. That is KALINSKALD. It would be great to hear your thoughts. All right, so not an awful lot going on here in Vega. I'd hoped that we were going to find somebody, but that is looking increasingly less likely. As we've had a look at all of these different places, there's not really much going on here with these planets in terms of minerals to pick up. So a little bit of a dud. I think we might have accidentally picked up something I didn't want to pick up there. Some basic elements there that we don't need. And some of those other less expensive ones as well. Let's try and keep as much of our cargo space free as we can. Presumably this is all getting dumped into space. So there is now the very minimal startings of an impressive ring around planet Vega 5. So nothing happening here. Let's go to the star map. The Precursor on the move, so we will have to return down there soon. Is there a star nearby? Here's Vega. Beta Corvi. That's nice and close. Let's go there next. All right. There's another star way up there in the corner of the map. Nothing immediately obvious happening here. There's a green ring around that middle planet. I still haven't actually figured out or remembered to look up if the color of the orbital tracks actually means anything or not. Primordial world appearing to be mostly covered in primords. Don't think we're going to need any of those. Ooh, but these goodies, that's worth doing. These Class 8 tectonics, possibly nightmarish. But we have lots of crew, and these are all stationary. And I'm not sure that we've seen these ones before either, so that's good. Let's go and collect all of them. We don't have to do any crazy chasing, for which I'm very grateful. Although I guess, oh, damn it. Although I guess with the amount of earthquakes that are happening, probably doesn't make that much difference whether we're moving or not. They're just peppering everywhere. Still haven't lost any crew. Let's see if I can apply all my skill to make sure that that maintains the case. Oh no, we failed. What would we do differently next time? Not much, because it appears to be a dice roll. Alright, good times. Oh no, we didn't quite have enough space to get that last one, so we're going to go back down for it. Let's do this. Yeah, easy in, easy out. Well done, team. First prize for everyone. I think we accidentally picked up some more stuff there that we don't want. To the bin with you. The giant infinite space bin. Infinite. Ugh. Learn to talk. Alright, where to next? Making a good start on having some material in our hold there to turn into more space bucks. And I do like my space bucks. But are we going to find anything else in the system? Apparently not on planet 2, at the very least. What have we got here? A carbide world. Don't think we're going to need to land on that one. Farewell, planet. Thanks for stopping by. Let's head out to the gas giant. We might leave that in a planet to last. Because if there is something, I guess it's probably likely to be on that one. Did we end up on the gas giant or did we end up on the moon? Looks like the moon. Got a good old Urea world. Ugh. No dice. Let's continue on our merry way. Only one moon orbiting that gas giant. Oh, there was another planet out here. Well done me accidentally on purpose. Show me what you got. All the things. Come on, trying to save the galaxy here. Just give me some resources. That's what I'm talking about. Some exotics. Oh, I love it. Thank you, quasi-degenerate world. I'm going to pick up all of this degenerate matter. Looks like, is it all going to be degenerate matter? Are we going to get some Zo crystals? No, we're not. That's all right. They're all worth the same amount, which is oodles. Little victory spin there on the spot. Where to next? A couple other planets out here before we zip into the center. Find out what's happening in this neck of the woods. If anything. And while I'm deeply curious to find out if there is anything here and discover what we can or can't do about it, I must admit that I am also a little apprehensive about actually finding anything in the near term, because then I'll have to figure out what am I going to do next? Because there's so many things I could be doing next. I think the majority of the decisions are mainly going to be based around, is there a nearby part of space that looks like it has a ton of stuff in it where we haven't been to it at all yet? Because shadows on the hyperspace map obviously are going to... biologicals are going to tell us if there are ships around that we could potentially run into and get some more of that good story. Although now that I'm waffling out loud, it also occurs to me that we should probably go back and talk to the Arilu, because we did get that warp pod, which is part of the reason why we're kind of here at all, yeah? So in terms of timing, we might have to look at that. The portal that we're after, good grief, come back. The portal, oh good, they're only one shot, it just takes forever to hit them. Portal only opens on every month on the 17th. So timing wise, we want that to work out, otherwise we're just sort of sitting around. God damn it, didn't want to pick that up. Otherwise we're just sort of sitting around waiting for a portal to open. That ain't a lot of fun. Where are these eagles again? Yum, delicious. One shot eagle kill. And angry bees. And little worms. So 3 different creatures on this planet. It's, again, not something that's overly typical. I think you would reverse direction, wouldn't you? Thank you so much. Damn. Come back. Haha, success. Many of the planets, at least as I recall them, are only really tending to have 2 critters on it. 428 biologicals. That's going to be quite a lot of stuff. Very happy with that. And how many crew we have left? Still 80. That's oodles. Oodles of crew. And even if they're costing us 5 a pop now, we're not really spending our money on all that many other things. It's just the one planet left. Let's see if the Planet 1 awesomeness comes into play. Is there anything here? Apparently not. Alright. No energies. Some biologicals are here though. So we're going to hoover them up too. Ow. Don't like lightning. Not a fan. Also not a fan of trying to shoot highly mobile critters. I'd much rather they all just sat still, to be honest. Come back. That pushback on these shots is somewhat frustrating when they're non-aggressive. Because it just means they get further away from you rather than getting aggravated and coming straight towards you, which does actually make them a lot easier to kill. Lost my track of where I was on the map there. That was a bit confusing. The not being able to move while you shoot thing. Kind of frustrating. I really wish that that there wasn't that pause and that hitch. I don't know if that's a keyboard control input problem or if it's a by design sort of thing, input limitations or not. So these paddle feet things sure do seem to take up a lot of cargo space, which I'm assuming equates fairly directly to number of biological units that they consume. So I'm not going to really argue about that. Ow. That was Fred. Fred meant everything to me, and now he's gone. How dare you? I'll have my revenge by removing the rest of you from the surface of this planet. Good times. Is that all of them? It is all of them. Go team. What did we pick up this time around? We didn't pick up any icky things. That must mean that they're actually worth something. Or maybe I misremembered picking something up. No, there are things there. Whatever. They're not the parts that we care about. Okay, so nothing in Beta Corvi that we can find. Don't think we missed anything. Let's have a quick look Got all the planets here. I think we've been to all of them. We didn't go to the actual gas giant, though. Should probably be a little cautious in this part of the galaxy, because this is the area that everything pointed us towards. Hello, visitor. Good grief. We're the Slylandro. Yeah, we did it. I am content to hover. A Slylandro speaker. Your presence here fills us with excitement. We have gotten so few visitors over these many Dran. We hope you can stay to talk with us for a time. Part of the reason why maybe you haven't met a lot of people is that this game has been training me not to travel to gas giants, because there's never anything on them. What are the odds? Anyway, I am Clapton, captain of the Earth Starship Dank. What the heck are you? Oh, this is terribly exciting. We will be happy to tell you about ourselves. If you will please do the same. You see, we Slylandro have been extremely interested in learning about the galaxy. But our physique makes us incapable of leaving our gas giant home. Therefore, we are totally reliant on our infrequent visitors to keep us informed about events outside this planetary system. Visitors usually only show up every few Dran. We hope that our newly deployed exploration probe fleet, here we go, will not only gather information for us, but inform other races of our presence here as well. Interesting. Fun fact, my human physique also prevents me from leaving a planet with atmosphere. Anyway, please tell us more about your probe. You know, it's funny, we hadn't heard from the outside galaxy in a whole Dranasa. And then the lonnnnng come by and sell us a probe. And just a few hundred rotations later, you show up. Oh, the probes, right. Well, like we said, just a short time ago, a race called the lonnnnng stopped by. They said they had acquired some information revealing our existence. And they wanted to study us if we didn't mind. In fact, the lonnnnng said they would pay us for the right to do so. I guess they are biology nuts or something. Anyway, in exchange for our information, they gave us a probe vessel. Sure. Tell me about the other races who have visited you over the years. Years? Oh, you mean Dran. Well, let's see. There was the lonnnnng just a few rotations back. Then we go all the way back over 3 Dran ago to the Ur-Quan. And the other milieu guys, the Yuli and the Dran, I think. Milieu? What is the milieu? And who are the Yuli and the... Oh, it's the Drawl. Who are the Yuli and the Drawl? Let me remember. That was a long, long time ago. I was only a nymph then. Ah, yes, that's it. The Sentient Milieu was a cooperative association of sentient alien species. The Yuli, the Drawl, the Tarlo, the lonnnnng, the Faz, and the Ur-Quan, who lived across a wide section of the galaxy. They talked with us fairly frequently for almost half a Dran. Then suddenly the visits stopped, and we haven't heard from them since. Interesting. Were there any other visitors here besides the lonnnnng and milieu races? Yes, there was another race, a highly sophisticated species of shaggy giants, who made repeated trips to our world over a period of several Dran. They even installed a broadcasting satellite in orbit around our world, which let us talk with them whenever we wanted. They were called the... I'm sorry, I can't remember their names. It was a long, long time ago. Interesting. Yow! That sounds like the Precursors. What else can you tell us about this race? I wish I knew more of the information you seek, traveller. But we last saw the shaggy ones just over 39 Dran ago, and very little from that era has remained intact in our history chants. Hold on a moment. Let me consult with Associates Joyous Lifting and Sullen Plummet. Joyous Lifting, who has a better memory than I, recalls that the shaggy ones were described as being worried. They were always hurrying from place to place, seeking knowledge, as though they were in a desperate search for some important secret, some answer to a question that they never shared with us. Sullen Plummet remembers that the last time the shaggy ones visited our world, they came aboard a great circular starship, not even larger than your own. They had discovered their answer and were leaving to go somewhere. And they didn't tell us exactly where somewhere was. Interesting. This is extremely important to us. Don't you know any more? No, I have told you. One moment. Joyous Lifting transmits. Joyous Lifting has remembered something else. Though it does not relate to the Shaggy One's question-answer departure destination, what my associate communicates is the description of a set of 10 worlds, unlike all others. The Shaggy Ones either discovered these planets or, this is garbled, assembled them? We were told the planets were, again this is confusing, organised in some pattern, which in some way alluded to the Shaggy One's ultimate fate. One of the worlds was described as orbiting one of a pair of blue stars not far from here. Another of these worlds circled a large white sun. That is all we can remember. Those sound like rainbow worlds. Pardon me, but who exactly are you again? We are the Slylandro, a race of kind, curious gasbag people. Tell us more about your interesting species. Certainly, provided you share with us similar information. What would you like to know? Tell us about your home, this gas giant planet. Our planet, which we call Source, has no solid surface as yours likely does. Our world is the 500-kilometre band of atmosphere in which we can survive. Below this are the depths, a dark and hostile region, which grows increasingly darker and more hostile the farther it goes. A typical feat of courage for Slylandro juveniles is to sink far enough into the depths so that the juvenile's gas bag is almost ruptured by the pressure. The tissue scars left by the trip last many rotations and are thought to attract comely mates. Above our world is void. When we travel up too far into void, we grow giddy and behave inappropriately. Sure, what can you tell us about your culture? We have an egalitarian society here. All are equal. Of course, that doesn't stop some people from being stupid fools or jerks. But on a world as huge as Source, where there are no barriers to restrict your travel, if someone is bothering you, simply go somewhere else. As you might have guessed, we have no physical technology. In our long history, several of our people have tried to work with objects, constructing weapons and other tools from the carcasses of dead beasts. But eventually, whatever it was they were building got too heavy and dragged them down to the depths. Interesting. Tell us of your history. Since we possess no technology, we have no permanent way to record the passage of events. Instead, we use the history chants, long songs whose rhythms and patterns help prevent the introduction of error into the record. When the Shaggy Ones first arrived over 41 Drans ago, we had no words for aliens or ships, for stars or planets. Our skies are an opaque swirl of colours. We knew nothing of the universe outside Source. The Shaggy Ones taught us most of the new words. And after they departed, we remembered them for the many long Dran, until ships from the sentient milieu arrived. Tell us about your biology. Our world, which we call Source, has been home to our species for many thousands of Dran. We evolved from simpler, unimodular beings who thrive in atmospheric convection cells. At first, we were little more than mindless consumers who glided at the edge of wind walls, sifting the air for small animalcules. But even then, we were social creatures who invented language so that we could better cooperate when herding food into dense concentrations. There are many hundreds of species here in Source. Producers, consumers, hunters, and parasites, but so far, we are the only species here to achieve intelligence. Interesting. Thank you. That's sufficient for now. My pleasure. Now let's talk about you and your peoples. Sure. What are those glowy bits inside of you? Oh my. From your question, I infer that you creatures perceive in a different spectral range and can see well, we can't see them. What I mean to say is we use them for when the male and the female, look, I'd prefer you didn't ask about them, okay? Especially not in front of Sullen Plummet. She's shy. Folks, I think they mean genitals. We might leave that be, hey? Exactly how long is a Dran? The Dran is our primary unit of time. It lasts for an interval equivalent to 4 million rotations of our planet. A Dran is subdivided into 2,000 Dranasa. Now please, our turn. Will you tell us about yourselves? Sure. What can we say here that's going to be interesting? Let's just start at the top. Most of us come from a rocky world called Earth. Yes, that seems to be the pattern. Just about everyone who comes by here says they developed on a world a lot like that. As far as we know, we're the only sentient species who's ever evolved in the atmosphere of a gas giant. Of course, from what we know, most travellers like yourselves don't have much interest in gas giants. So maybe there are others like us Slylandro out there somewhere. Interesting. We travel the galaxy seeking intercourse with other sentients. That must be great, to leave your planet and roam the stars. You don't know how monotonous living on a gas giant for 3 or 4 Dran can be. Clouds, clouds, clouds. Wind, lightning, clouds, clouds, clouds. That's it. We know a lot about clouds. If you've got any cloud questions, ask us. We have over 800 different symbolic references just to describe them. Most of the time, when we aren't eating, we hover around and talk about what the clouds look like. Of course, the only things we know about are clouds, food, and other Slylandro. So generally, that's what we think the clouds look like. Interesting. Our primary objective right now is to free ourselves from the evil Ur-Quan. The Ur-Quan? The long brownish guys from the milieu with all the eyes and arms? They used to come visit us regularly about 3 Drans ago. They told us about all the interesting things they found from their scouting missions. They were really nice. Why do you fight with them? I think you were confused. Those aren't the Ur-Quan we're talking about. Ours are green. But the Ur-Quan were such good guys. They had lots of interesting things to tell us about. And they never got impatient with our questions. Well, I guess a lot can happen to a species in 3 Dran. Like turning green and evil. You're not wrong there. We are particularly interested in studying unusual planets and life forms. Oh, then you should go check out a planet orbiting a blue star not too far from here. I think there is another blue star right next to it. That's twice we've gotten that hint, folks. We can't describe exactly where it is, but the people who told us about it, the Ur-Quan, I think, said that it was one of the rarest worlds in space. And that, as far as they know, there were only 10 of the planets in this part of the galaxy. That's definitely the Rainbow Worlds. And that's enough about us for now. Okay, but please, can we talk about you some more later? Sure. Let's do the probe question. Can you give me details about your probes? Sure, if you were interested. In exchange for information about the life on Source, the lonnnnng offered to give us a remote exploration probe. It would roam the galaxy, gathering information and contacting alien races. And when it had filled its data storage units, it would return here and reveal to us everything it had learned. Well, why then do your probes attack our ships? Our probes do not attack. They have only defensive capabilities. Defensive behavior is not part of the instructions we programmed into the probe. To have done so would have been reprehensible. Can we talk a little bit about more about the probes program? Sure. What would you like to know? Would you outline the probes program? Sure. It was a difficult task for us, since we'd never done anything like that before. But for the most part, we just adjusted its standard program, which went something like: scan for targets as defined in target list. If no current target, then select new target from current targets list using specified priorities. If current position is at current target, then set current behavior to new behavior based on behavior priority settings. Perform current behavior. Okay, that's the basic program. I said it was simple. And here are the tables used by the program. Target list with associated target priority. Space vessel, 5. Transmission source, 4. Astronomical anomaly, 3. Planet-bearing life signature, 2. Raw replication materials, 1. Probe behaviors with assigned priorities. Communicate, 5. Record data, 4. Analyze data, 3. Seek replication materials, 999. Move to current target, 1. That's it. Interesting. You mentioned the probe's defensive capabilities. Elaborate. That behavior was hard-coded by the lonnnnng. We couldn't mess with it. Essentially, the probe will only fire its weapons if it has been attacked and cannot communicate with the attacker. When defending itself, it uses its lightning weapon? No, the probe is armed with a battery of missiles. It doesn't use its electrical discharge device in combat. Missiles? It only attacked us with lightning. That's impossible. It's inconceivable. The electrical discharge device is only used for breaking down raw replication materials into their component compounds for easy gathering. Let's talk more about this later on. I have a hunch, folks. Okay. Where exactly did you say you got your probe from? From the lonnnnng Traveller Traders. It was catalogue item 2418B, Remote Self-Replicating Robot Explorer Probe, the economy model. Why did the lonnnnng sell it to you? lonnnnng traded it to us for data on the life in Source. They said the information was unique and was worth... Oh, I don't really understand the units of exchange. Something like 10,000 gree dots or something like that. Fortunately, that was exactly the price of their catalogue item 2418B, Remote Self-Replicating Robot Explorer Probe. Interesting. How long ago did you get the probe? 200 or 300 rotations, I guess. Cool story. What was the probe's program? It was sent on a 500 rotation mission to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no... Catalogue item 2418B, remote self-replicating robot explorer probe, had gone before. Little Star Trek joke there. Can you explain the probe's replication ability? Well, we're not hardware people, so we only know the theory. What happens is that while the probe is exploring space, whenever it's not doing something more important, it hunts for asteroids and similar space junk, zaps it into component parts, absorbs the debris, and when it has enough raw material stored inside, it manufactures a perfect replica of itself. So even though we only bought one probe, by now there should be hundreds of probes, maybe even thousands. Cool. Let's talk a little bit more about the probe's program. Could you tell me about the replication behavior? I'd be glad to. You see, the probe has the capability to seek out raw materials, process the raw materials into component compounds, collect the compounds, and then when it has a sufficient supply, it can build a duplicate of itself. We decided that since we had only one probe, we should change the replication priority and crank it up so that there would be more probes sooner. What priority did you assign to replication? Well, the factory setting was 2, in between movement at 1, and analyze data at 3. I told Joyous Lifting to set it a bit higher. Let me ask him what he set it to. Oh, my, that was a bit extreme, wasn't it? Joyous Lifting told me he changed it to 999. The highest setting on the dial. What is the effect of the priority settings on behaviour? I'm pretty sure the way it works is that every time a behaviour is completed or interrupted, the program selects a new behaviour based on the defined behaviour target priorities. And what kind of target is currently selected, I think? A really high priority would cause a probe to focus its attention on that behaviour. Your probe does destroy ships, and I can prove it. No, it cannot. It is not programmed for hostile behaviour. What is your reasoning? Think about a probe's replication behaviour. The probe seeks raw materials and processes them in preparation for replication. Think about the effect of changing the replication behaviour's priority. The answer is simple. It would spend more of its time seeking raw materials for its replication process. So what? Now, what will it do to a ship, given that its replication priority is set to maximum? I don't see what you're getting at, but I'll play along with you. Like I said, alien ships are the top priority target. Once a probe scanned a ship, it would instantly move toward it. Then, when it got to the ship, it would initiate communication automatically. When communications were terminated, new behaviour would be selected, and... Uh-oh. New behaviour would be selected, and since the replication setting was set to maximum, the probe wouldn't get time to pick a new target. It would use the current target. The ship. For raw replication materials. It would process the ship. Break it into component compounds with electrical discharges. Oh no. What have we done? Traveller, you must tell us what we can do. How can we stop the probes from destroying all life in the galaxy? Let's have a look here. We have a lot of options here. Let's go with this one. Couldn't you broadcast some kind of recall signal? No, not catalogue item 2418B. Remote self-replicating robot explorer probe. The model with the recall transmitter was catalogue item 2419. And the Melnorm said it was out of stock. I don't suppose you have some kind of mega self-destruct code or something? Why yes, there is! You're a genius, Traveller. Why didn't we remember that? Oh, there's a problem though. How are we going to transmit the code? Well, while we ponder that problem, at least we can give you the code sequence. That way, if you run into a probe, you can destroy it without getting shot. To use the destruct sequence, simply engage the probe's standard communication system and then transmit the code. The probe will then automatically destruct. It'd be quite a turn if we went with that line of dialogue, but we're going to fare these folk well. Goodbye, Slaylander gas bags. Goodbye, human fluid sack or sick burn. And there we have it. And guess what, folks? That is all the time we have for this part of the Let's Play. It's been a long one because we got stuck in a real long dialogue tree. So thank you so much for your patience. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified when other episodes are released. And please tell a friend if you think they might enjoy this. And come back again soon for more Star Control 2.